Can you solve all these English literature questions? Horace was a...
Excellent. Roman writer is well-reasoned. Who is English poet? Bravo. John Keats is the answer. Emile Zola is a famous. Well-reasoned. French novelist is correct. Who condemned literature? Exactly. Plato makes sense. Ferdowsi was the poet of. Valid point. Persian is true. Renaissance is a dash word. Nice work. French fits perfectly. Francis Bacon was an English. Nice selection. Essayist is correct. Shakespeare wrote dash sonnets. Correct. English is spot on. Who is the English epic poet? Perfect. John Milton is the one. What is the genre of folk tales? Sharp thinking. Traditional literature is right. Which one is not folk literature? Strong choice. Articles is right. What did Geoffrey Chaucer write? You're right. Canterbury Tales is correct. What nationality was Shakespeare? Excellent choice. English is right. Hamlet expresses his love of dash. Correct response. Theatre is accurate. What nationality was Oscar Wilde? Right choice. Irish is best. In which English city was he born? You got it. Stratford upon Avon Fitz. Gothic literature is a subgenre of. Well done. Romanticism is right. Robert Herrick was an English dash. Smart pick. Poet is correct. Jan Martel is a and dash novelist. Clear logic. Canadian is sound. Which English poet was a diplomat? Good job. Geoffrey Chaucer works well. When was Gothic literature created? Solid response 64 is valid. Who translated Rubaiyat in English? Good thinking. Edward Fitzgerald is right. Who introduced sonnet into English? On track. Thomas White is correct. English poet addicted to opium was. Well picked. St. Coleridge is correct. Jane Austen wrote during this period. Great thinking. Regency is right. In what language was Beowulf written? You chose Old English, correct? Middle English period is between dash. Right again, 1066 15th century is valid. The golden age of English literature. Nicely done. Elizabethan age is solid. Literature of Victorian age reflects. Great job. Stability is accurate. How many books have wisdom literature? Smart move. 7 is accurate answer. Who wrote the first English dictionary? Right again. Samuel Johnson is valid. Which period of literature came first? You got it. Restoration fits. Who was the founder of English history? Excellent. Venerable Bede is well-reasoned. Oliver Goldsmith is Avon dash novelist. Well-reasoned. Irish is correct. In what language did Shakespeare write? Smart move. Modern English is accurate answer. Sylvia Plath married which English poet? Smart pick. Hughes is correct. What was the nationality of Oscar Wilde? Sharp thinking. Irish is right. Who is the father of English literature? Good thinking. Geoffrey Chaucer is right. Dante's greatest work was written in dash. Solid response. Italian is valid. Who was the first English Christian king? Clear logic. Ethelbert is sound. Beowulf is the earliest no English dash. Exactly. Epic poem makes sense. What language did the Anglo-Saxons speak? Valid point. Old English is true. Who translated Utopia in English language? Strong choice. Ralph Robinson is right. When did Gothic literature become popular? Nicely done. 18th century is solid. Who is the father of modern English drama? Bravo. G.B. Shaw is the answer. Who is the father of the English language? Nice work. Geoffrey Chaucer fits perfectly. Who is called the father of English prose? Correct response. John Wycliffe is accurate. What is the English translation of manga? Perfect. Humorous pictures is the one. How did English romantics consider Britain? Good job. Oppressive works well. Alexander Dumas was a famous dash novelist. Excellent choice. French is right. What language did Dante write his poetry in? Great thinking. Italian is right. In what century did Gothic literature begin? Well done. 18th is right. Who introduced sonnet in English literature? Great job. Thomas Wyatt is accurate. When was the English Parliament established? You're right. 1295 is correct. What language was Dante's Inferno written in? On track. Italian is correct. What type of English did Shakespeare develop? You chose modern English. Correct. Who is known as the father of English poetry? Correct. Geoffrey Chaucer is spot on. Who is this very famous English romantic poet? Right choice. John Keats is. Gothic literature arose in America during dash. Well picked. 20th century is correct. The mood of Gothic literature is almost always. Nice selection. Gloomy is correct. Which one is Golden Age in English literature? Great job. Elizabethan is accurate. Each type of traditional literature has its own. Nice selection. Characteristics is correct. There are dash types of traditional literature. Correct response. 5 is accurate. What type of folklore literature is Cinderella? Valid point. Fairy tale is true. The Anglo-Saxon or Old English period start on. Excellent. 450 is well reasoned. Who got the Nobel Prize for Literature in 2007? Strong choice. Lessing is right. Who is the writer of the Middle English period? Good job. William Langland works well. Who is the last word of the English Renaissance? Smart move. John Milton is accurate answer. When was Southern Gothic literature popularized? 1900s fits perfectly. Gothic literature was a branch of what movement? You're right. The Romanticism is correct. Central idea or message in a work of literature. Smart pick. Theme is correct. Which of the following was not an English writer? Good thinking. Mark Twain is right. Which is the first successful English novel? 6. Perfect. Robinson Crusoe is the one. The youngest Nobel Prize winner in literature is? Correct. Rudyard Kipling is spot on. Who is the Romantic precursor in English poetry? Well done. William Blake is right. Which philosopher got Nobel Prize in literature? Well picked. Bertrand Russell is correct. Which of the following is not a living language? You chose Latin, correct? How many marks is English language paper 1 worth? Bravo, 80 is the answer. A famous mock epic poet in English literature is? Solid response. Alexander Pope is valid. Who called Dryden the father of English criticism? Excellent choice. Dr. Johnson is right. Which was the oldest period in English literature? You got it. Anglo-Saxon fits. What era was Victorian Gothic literature introduced? Exactly. 1800s makes sense. Who helped Gothic literature achieve respectability? Clear logic. Anne Radcliffe is sound. Who lived in Britain before the Romans conquered it? Nicely done. Celtic peoples is solid. It is the beginning of Asian and African literature. Well reasoned. Prehistoric period is correct. A famous playwright in modern English literature is? Right again. Oscar Wilde is valid. Who is regarded as the father of the English novel? Sharp thinking. Henry Fielding is right. G.B. Shaw was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature in? Right choice, 1925. Roughly speaking, how long was the English Civil War? On track, 1 decade is correct. Which of these is not an element of Gothic literature? Great thinking. Romance is right. Which period of English literature starts from 1950s? Right choice. Modern English is best. What is the period of the rise of William Shakespeare? Right again. Renaissance period is valid. What was the greatest achievement in Greek literature? Strong choice. Plays is right. When was the first Oxford English Dictionary published? Well picked. 1884. Who is the most famous satirist in English literature? Well done. Jonathan Swift is right. From which language the name, Chaucer, has been driven? Excellent choice. French is right. The storyline of events that make up a story is called? Exactly. Plot makes sense. What do we find a lot of in Southern Gothic literature?
Good thinking. The grotesque is right.
What was not a typical genre of Anglo-Saxon literature? You chose novel, correct? Who is the first great modernist of English literature? Sharp thinking. Geoffrey Chaucer is right. Nguyen Mahfouz is a Vandash writer who got Nobel Prize. Well-reasoned. Egyptian is correct. Nobel Prize winner in literature Harold Pinter is from. You're right. Okay is correct. I don't understand his explanation. It's all dash to me. Smart pick. Greek is correct. In De Monarchia, what language does Dante primarily use? The.
Great thinking. Latin is right.
What did Henry James describe as loose, baggy monsters?
Nice selection. Novels is correct.
How many main types of traditional literature are there? Correct. 5 is spot on. Gothic literature includes all the following except dash. Nice work. Realistic settings fits perfectly, which is not true about characters in Gothic literature. Bravo. Calm is the answer. Who is called as the Poet's poet in Chinese literature?
Nicely done. Tufu is solid.
In British literature, the Romantic era engaged peoples. Valid point. Personal feelings is true, which is known as Romantic period of English literature. Oh. On track, 1790-1832 is correct. Which one is 19th century English literature from above? Clear logic, 1801-1899, which is called the golden period of English literature. Smart move. Elizabethan age is accurate answer. Who has often been called the father of English tragedy? Solid response. Christopher Marlowe is valid. In which dialect is Dante's Vita Nuova primarily written?
Great job. Tuscan is accurate.
When did William Faulkner get Nobel Prize for Literature? Correct response, B. 1949 is accurate. Who is the famous mock heroic poet in English literature? Good job. Alexander Pope works well. Who translated the Bible into English for the first time? Excellent. John Wycliffe is well-reasoned. Who is known as the father of modern English criticism? Perfect. John Dryden is the one. Who wrote Ecclesiastical History of the English People?
You got it? Venerable Bede Fitz.
Form term, a reference to another work of art or literature. You chose illusion, correct? When did Hemingway receive the Nobel Prize for Literature? Right choice, 1954 is, which is not an example of a traditional literature story. Sharp thinking. A biography is right. He is considered the father of American Gothic literature. Perfect. Poe is the one. What is the beginning and ending of the Old English period? Correct response. 451-1066 is accurate. Who is the youngest literature laureate to win Nobel Prize? You're right. Rudyard Kipling is correct. Early American literature began approximately in what year? Great job, 1600 is accurate.
The genre of Southern literature that became popular in the
Good job, 1940s, 1960s works well. What language did the clerics, the religious people, speak? Well reasoned. Latin is correct. Who is known as the poet of nature in English literature?
valid point. William Wordsworth is true.
William Faulkner was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature in. Excellent. 1949 is well reasoned. What category of traditional literature is an ancient story? Right again. Myth is valid. Gothic literature branched off from what type of literature? Great thinking. Romantic is right. What language did William the Conqueror bring from Normandy? Correct. French is spot on. What's the nationality of the author of The Quiet American? Excellent choice. English is right. In which language the stories of Canterbury Tale are written? You got it. Middle English fits. Which type of traditional literature uses a lot of hyperbole? Nice work. Tall Tale fits perfectly. What year did Gothic literature arrive on the literary scene? Well picked. 1776 is correct. The most notable feature of Southern Gothic literature is the smart move. Grotesque is accurate answer. A reference to another work of literature or event in history. Well done. Allusion is right. Who is the first ever winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature? Smart pick. Sully Prudhomme is correct. How many marks is English Literature Paper 1 section worth? Solid response. 34 is valid. Which of the following is not a characteristic of Old English? Nicely done. Romance is solid. What percentage of English words come from the ancient Greeks? Exactly. 12% makes sense. 3 languages were used during the 7th, 14th centuries, except clear logic. Greek is sound. W.B. Yeats received the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year. Bravo! 1923 is the answer. Which of the following is not a type of traditional literature? Nice selection. Science fiction is correct. The following elements are evident in Gothic literature except. On track. War is correct. It is the period when the name India started to be widely used.
Strong choice. Colonial period is right.
The message or lesson that is revealed in a work of literature. Good thinking. Theme is right. What is the primary literary device used in Old English poetry? Bravo. Alliteration is the answer.
The English language has adopted many dash from many countries.
Strong choice. Words is right.
Who was the originator of the theory of imitation in literature? Or
correct response. Plato is accurate. In this period of British literature, all genres are represented.
nice work. Contemporary period fits perfectly.
How many questions are there in a single English language paper? You got it, Fitz. Who was statesman but awarded Nobel Prize in English literature? Good job. Churchill works well. Queen Elizabeth's rule of England is referred to as the Dash era. Smart pick. Elizabethan is correct. Typically, Southern Gothic literature also has a character who is. Great thinking. An innocent is right. It is considered as one of the richest eras in English literature. Great job. Renaissance period is accurate. William Shakespeare was a famous century English playwright. You're right, 16th is correct. What language was spoken at the English court in the Middle Ages? Sharp thinking. French is right. Who of the following is a famous epic poet in English literature? Valid point. John Milton is true. Who is considered to be the rebel poet in English literature? Clear logic. Lord Byron is sound. Award of Nobel Prize in Literature was started from the year dash. Good thinking. 1901 is right. In which period would you place the interests for the supernatural? On track. Romantic is correct. Which form of literature was common during the Anglo-Saxon period? Right again. Epic poems is valid.
It is considered as the great age of poetry in British literature.
Well reasoned. Romantic period is correct. The main idea or message that is revealed in a work of literature. Excellent. Theme is well reasoned. Who is the first great English storyteller in English literature?
Right choice. Geoffrey Chaucer is best.
The Diary of Anne Frank was originally written in which language? Perfect. Dutch is the one. In which year Winston Churchill got the Nobel Prize in Literature? Well picked. 1953. To which age of English literature does William Shakespeare belong? Well done. Elizabethan age is right. In De Vulgari Eloquentia, Dante writes primarily in which language? Nicely done. Latin is solid. How many periods of development are there in Middle English period? Excellent choice. 2 is right. Which of the following was not a theme found in Puritan literature?
Solid response. Relaxation is valid. From 1800 to the present day, the version of English spoken is dash.
Nice selection. Late modern is correct. The most important genre of literature to Romantic era writers was? Correct. Poetry is spot on. The first complete version of Bible in English language was made by? But
You chose Wycliffe. Correct.
which theory? This theory looks at universal patterns in literature. Exactly. Archetypal makes sense. The dash is a popular story character in Native American literature. Smart move. Trickster is accurate answer. Gothic American literature fits under what larger literary movement? Solid response. Romanticism is valid. Which of these is not used as a physical device in Gothic literature? Bravo. Escalator is the answer. The Fairy Queen.
is the dash well-known poem in English literature?
On track. Longest is correct.
What language did common people speak in England in the Middle Ages?
You got it. Middle English fits.
Who was the first black woman who won the Nobel Prize for Literature?
Exactly. Toni Morrison makes sense.
Struggle between opposing forces and the basis of plot in literature.
Nice selection. Conflict is correct.
Humanism focused on achievements in all of the following except what?
Great job. Math is accurate.
During his school days, Shakespeare translated what language to English?
Sharp thinking. Latin is right.
English hero that was famed for robbing the rich and giving to the poor.
Well reasoned. Robin Hood is correct.
Which three languages have a big influence on Middle and Modern English?
Clear logic. French, Latin, Norse is sound.
The Adventure of Robinson Crusoe was the first dash written in English.
Correct. Novel is spot on. This type of story is impossible. It might have talking animals or magic.
Well picked. Fantasy is correct.
Approximately when did the English Romantic literary movement take place?
You're right. 1770, 1850 is correct.
Who is the modern philosopher who was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature?
Nice work. Bertrand Russell fits perfectly.
A nonfiction text that presents fact-based information on a topic is dash.
Smart move. Informational text is accurate answer. Who authored the first two books published in English by a Native American?
Excellent choice. Samson Occam is right.
What category of traditional literature explains natural phenomena?
You chose myth, correct?
Which of the following terms names a kind of literature that uses hyperbole?
Excellent. Tall tales is well reasoned.
Which of these lexical verbs would not be likely to see in Gothic literature?
Good job. Jiggled works well.
Who was the first ethnic Chinese author to win the Nobel Prize in Literature?
And smart pick. Zhou Xingjian is correct.
A famous English poet who was professionally known as Man of Medicine is dash.
Valid point. Keats is true.
The English masque has its origins in the traditions of what European country?
Strong choice. Italy is right.
Emerson and the Transcendentalists worked to define dash, that, and dash in a new way. Right choice. Religion, spirituality is best. Rabindranath Tagore was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year dash.
1913 is solid.
Dystopian literature usually starts out looking like a utopia, which is a what?
Great thinking. Perfect society is right.
Shakespeare often employed which of the following stylistic forms in his dramas?
Well done. Blank verse is right.
Asserts that most literature throughout time has been written by men, for men.
Correct response. Feminist is accurate.
Most Native American literature was dash. It was told rather than written down.
Right again. Oral is valid.
The message about human nature communicated by a work of literature is called
dash. Good thinking. Theme is right.
What did Henry James describe as text/loose baggy monsters text/? Perfect. Novels is the one.
Transcendentalists believe that dash, humanity, and nature share a universal soul.
Good thinking. God is right. Who, among the following English playwrights, scripted the film Shakespeare in Love? Love. Sharp thinking. Tom Stoppard is right. How many poets were included in Johnson's The Lives of Most Eminent English Poets? Excellent. 52 is well reasoned. A genre of reading that contains myths, legends, tall tales, fairy tales, and fables. Clear logic. Traditional literature is sound. The Grasshopper and the Ants is an example of what traditional literature category. Right choice. Fable is best. Which of the following novelists is known for his satire in the Victorian literature? Well reasoned. Thackeray is correct.
In which of the following genres did Victorian literature achieve its greatest success?
Great job. The novel is accurate. Through the book The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, King Alfred promoted the use of written dash. Smart move. Old English is accurate answer.
Which author was mostly mentioned in Samuel Johnson's A Dictionary of English Language?
You got it? William Shakespeare Fitz. Psychoanalytical theory often uses which psychologists' theories to interpret literature. You chose Froude. Correct. Which poet, critic and translator brought England a modern literature between 1660 and 1700s?
Perfect. Dryden is the one. The first fire-breathing dragon in English literature occurs in which Old English epic poem?
On track. Beowulf is correct. Examples of this type of traditional literature are Paul Bunyan, Picot's Bill, and Johnny Appleseed. Excellent choice. Legend is right.
Definition: stories passed down orally from one generation to the next by different cultural groups.
Correct. Folktales is spot on. Which Chinese poet represented the classical tradition in Chinese literature, politics, and morality? Right again. Po Chu is valid. What category of traditional literature explains natural phenomena without gods and goddesses? Well done. Legend is right. How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format. Correct response. Contact Narayan Chengder is accurate.